interesting. Sleep is not a unitary state. We often think that when we go to sleep, we're asleep and then we wake up and everything's fine. But actually, we've got 3 neurobehavioral states. One is wakefulness, which everyone is aware of, but also our sleep is divided into 2 neurobehavioral states, which is our rapid eye movement sleep, more commonly referred to as dream sleep, and non-rapid eye movement sleep, and that's divided into stages 1, 2 and 3. Stages 1 and 2 are better known as light sleep, and our stage 3 is deep sleep. The important thing about recognising that there's these different stages is that every stage of sleep has a particular function in keeping us at an optimum when we're awake. So each stage of sleep is very important. We perform unique functions that physiologically we cannot perform in any of our other neurobehavioral states. So we know, for example, that when we're awake, we are exposed to memories, we eat, we exercise, we do all those things that are part of being wakeful. But in sleep, we're similarly busy, but it's the only time in the 24-hour period that our body doesn't, or our mind, doesn't have to worry about keeping us safe to the external challenges. So, because presumably we're safe in bed. So our body and brain can start doing all those wonderful housekeeping things so that we can live well into old age and be happy and have great well-being. So in our deep sleep, this is the most quiescent time of our 24-hour period. And so at that stage, our heart rate goes right down, our breathing rate, our respiratory rate, everything goes right down so that the body can be busy physically repairing all those systems so that they're ready to go the next day. It's also in that sleep stage that we produce our beautiful hormones, our growth hormones that actually allow our metabolism to be very stable the next day. And in fact, if we don't get enough deep sleep, we will find that the next day we might be hungrier than normal, and we'll be hungrier for things like chocolate and chips and those dense carbohydrates because the body's reward systems are on fire. And dream sleep is also very important, but in a different way. So our deep sleep is important for our physical well-being and our dream sleep for our mental well-being. So when we are dreaming, our brain is as active as when it is awake. Now, this is a most astounding fact. We think of sleep as being very restful, and yes, it is, but our brain is working just as hard asleep as it is awake. And while it is asleep, what it's doing is embedding, encoding memories, it's resetting our emotional health, and it's also processing all those different parts of the brain that need to be operating at a peak when we're awake. And very importantly, something called the prefrontal cortex, which is this front part of the brain here, it's highly developed in humans and it gives us our brain smarts. Now, that part of the brain in dream sleep is actually deactivated. So that means this part of the brain that allows us to think very well when we are awake, this is the only time, the 24-hour period, that it gets a chance to rest, repair and restore. So if we don't give ourselves enough sleep, the next day, guess what? We're foggy-headed, and that is why.